Hello and welcome everyone. We are here today to take a look at the Bank Connect feature from Hotel Investor Apps. And Chip Fritch will be hosting and driving our train today, giving you a complete look. Chip is our Chief Operating Officer. And let's take a look at our agenda for today. We will be overviewing the Bank Connect module, how to synchronize accounts, how to resync those accounts, taking a look at report building, importing Bank Connect transactions, and using transactions in transaction matching. And if you have any questions today, you'll see there's a chat. You can go ahead and put those in the attendee chat. Chip Fritch will be answering questions at the end of the webinar. And of course, if you're having any issues, go ahead and chat those as well, and I can do my best to help you. So with that, Chip, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Great. Thanks, Jamie. Happy to be with you all here today. And let's go ahead and get started. I think I see a number of people have joined, so I think we have a bit of a quorum now. As Jamie stated, my name is Chip Fritch. I'm happy to be with you here today. I'm going to take you through some of the basics about our Bank Connect API connection, how it kind of works a little bit, what are some of the things that you're able to do with that connection, and then how you're able to view and visualize some of your data. So with that, I'll go ahead and get started. So one of the first things that you're going to see is I'm in our HIA platform. So one of the first things I'm going to be doing here today is going into our Bank Connect module and then selecting our Sync Bank Accounts. By going to the Sync Bank Accounts, this is going to allow me to go ahead and add and synchronize an account that I can do. So if I click Sync Accounts here, it's going to open up our connection API. We connect to over 12,000 institutions within the United States and some other countries as well. Our connection API company is always adding new financial institutions, and so we're able to certainly do that. If we wanted to look for a specific bank, we might be able to search for a bank within our connection API, or if we just want to go ahead and use a quick menu selection, we can select Bank of America. If we want to, we'll go ahead and enter our user credentials for this banking institution. Submit. Now, if you do have two-factor authentication on, it will either prompt you to receive your email, your text message, or whatever additional authentication process that you have enabled. And you'll go through that process here to authorize your different accounts. Now, once you're on the account listing screen, you will only see the accounts that your user ID with your financial institution has access to. From that point, you can select which accounts that you would like to go ahead and add to the connection. So whether you want it just to be all your operating accounts or your banking accounts or anything else, we can click continue. Now we've gone ahead and linked our accounts. Now, once we go ahead and refresh our screen, we'll give the system a moment, it's going to list out those new connections that we have right here. Now, once we've gone ahead and connected our accounts, it's a simple matter of selecting our cash account page and selecting which accounts that we're going to go ahead and link this through. For anyone that's not familiar with the cash account structure within HIA, that is how we record your financial institution accounts. Any accounts that you might be tracking bank balances with, cutting checks out of, depository accounts, and a variety of other things such as FF&E reserve even. So you're able to select these accounts as you progress through and you're able to link them. I'm just going to go ahead and link just a couple, just a small handful here today, and we'll just go ahead and select those cash accounts right here. We'll click Save. And now what we can do is if we actually we've gone ahead and successfully linked these accounts from Bank of America, but again, we can link through multiple financial institutions. You would just have to go through that synchronization with each financial institution separately, as each institution is going to have a separate username and credentialing authority. Once you've linked your accounts, we'd be able to see that those links actually represented on your cash account profiles as well. So if we actually go into our operating account here, we're going to be able to, and if I go into the right account, it would certainly be helpful. Let's go into the Wells Fargo, which I believe I just connected. So you can see that we have our connection, our bank account listed here under our bank connection tab. One of the other things that you can notice within our cash account profile is we do have the option to select our regions, portfolio, or account type, which is set up and fully customizable within the profile section of our Bank Connect aspect. So if we want to go into um, our account types, let's just open that in a new tab here. Once we open this up, you can see that I've gone ahead and created a couple standard account types, but maybe we want to go ahead and add a new account type. We want to call this money market. And we can go ahead and save that account type. And this is just a generic, these are just ways to identify the different types of bank accounts that you have in the system and the way to kind of group them together. So if you want, and it allows us, once we go into the reporting aspect, to be able to use that identifier to group our different cash account balances together, regardless of if they're in the same financial institution, within the same hotel, or however you want to group them, assuming your user has access to those cash accounts within the system. You'll be able to do the same aspect here for portfolios. So maybe you are a management company managing 5 or 6 different portfolios. You want to be able to kind of easily group those together. You can add them in portfolios, or if you want to be even build these out by various regions, maybe you want to be able to see your accounts by Northeast, Northwest style regions, or regions based upon asset managers or revenue operations managers. You're able to build those accounts out. Now, once we've gone ahead and connected those accounts, what's the big deal? What can we do with that? So that actually then allows us to use that bank connection to pull down either account balances or even transactions. Now, the transactions can be adjusted to pull down on a set schedule or over a broader date range, depending upon your requirements. So you can see that we connected those 4 cash accounts just a few minutes ago. They're listing out on our Import Bank Connect Balances page. We could either refresh account one by one, and we're going to go ahead and see the authorization. And you can see that I must have incorrectly associated that account. But we can also go ahead and click add a schedule or view existing schedules. And when we go ahead and do that, it's going to allow us to build a schedule and automate the import of these bank balances and allow us to import balances on a set schedule that we're able to go ahead and pull these balances down at 4, 5 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock every morning. So that when we log into the system, we're automatically going to be able to see those account balances listed in our reports as well as in our financial dashboards. That those account balances could either be listed on any dashboard you want to go ahead and set up across the system, or you could even set them up and just add it to a standard dashboard like your controller dashboard. So if we go to our controller dashboard, we're going to see that we've added a Bank Connect API widget listing out our account balances here. And you can see that we went ahead and we pulled the balance as of March 17th, and we're just showing that balance here. If we wanted to be able to open that up and see it across the whole board, we can certainly do so as well. And that just gives us the flexibility to be able to see our balances at a glance for one or multiple hotels throughout the portfolio. Going back to our Bank Connect page, why don't we go ahead and also look at the importing of bank transactions. This is going to operate on a very similar process of just what we did for the importing of bank balances. We can again set up and select to add a schedule. Maybe we want to pull in bank balances daily. So why don't I go ahead and add that? We're going to go ahead and say we want to add daily bank transactions. And we don't want this to stop at a set point in time. So we're going to go ahead and say no execution limit. And I do want this to happen every single day. So we're going to go ahead and say, you know what, we can start this schedule tomorrow morning. And let's just do 6 a.m. Run at exact time And the condition, you'll see that it automatically checked off the 2 accounts I had selected, and we'll just go ahead and click save. Now, every single morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, my system is going to go out and it's going to query these 2 bank accounts to pull down those transactions. I can go ahead and click refresh. And if I get one error and it's going to list it out, or I'm able to immediately pull down those transactions. So it's going to tell you whether or not you have a credentialing error or anything else. So it's going to let you know if you had a successful transaction with the bank account or not. One of the things that will happen then is those transactions automatically feed into your banking module under import bank transactions, and then they'll also be available in your process bank transaction screen. So once we're in the process bank transaction screen, what you're going to see is that the system automatically adds all the transactions that we pull down from the Bank Connect API per bank account or cash account, and it's going to list them out and make them available for reconciliation or auto matching. So as we load the transactions into the HIA system, those new transactions get loaded into our process bank transaction screen. We can either manually match these off, or we can go ahead and utilize the match settings and select auto match. This is going to run through the transactions of each row. And then what that will do is allow us to push these or process these transactions over to our bank reconciliation form, and those will then show as cleared, but they will also show as cleared then on your check register for any disbursements that you might have within the system. And that will then allow you to maintain a more up-to-date cash account or GL account balance for your available viewing ability. One of the other things that we can now do with the Bank Connect connection is we could again build out more dashboards and generic inquiries to see data, how we might want to be able to see it. But it would also allow us to run reports by account type, like we talked about. I can either run that by an individual hotel by leaving a hotel selection in the header. I can see I just have the one individual hotel. Or I could run it for multiple hotels if I have, depending upon how I've set that up in my cash accounts, and it looks like I've made a little bit of mistake. So let's go ahead and double check our cash account settings here to ensure that what portfolio or region we have these set up as. So you can see that here we actually have this set up as a payroll account. Let's go ahead and move that to an operating account here. We have it set up in our portfolio for portfolio 2. We'll leave that there. And we have it in our Northwest region. We'll go ahead and leave that there. We'll save that. And why don't I go ahead and check that USA bank account as well. And we'll also just call this an operating account. Northwest Portfolio 2 is great. And now we will go back to our Bank Connect, and let's just run it by the Northeast region. And we'll take a look at that. Now we're able to see our 2 accounts there. Or if we even ran by portfolio, again, we can remove our individual hotel and we can run the balances by portfolio. It's going to list out all the pertinent details of these cash account balances and let you be able to see that. Or you can, again, run it by the type as a couple other options there. Now, what happens? How long does this account stay active for? And that's a good question. The accounts stay active for as long as your financial institution would allow. So whether that's 30 days before you have to reset your passwords with your institution or 90 days with your financial institution. So whenever your credentials need to be reauthorized within your banking or financial institution system is when you're going to have to resync your accounts within HIA back to your financial institution. Luckily, it's very simple. We would simply go into one of the cash accounts that we linked, such as this Wells Fargo, and all we need to do is click resync. Now it's not, and that's going to open up our portal, and you can see that I actually already am connected, so I don't need to resync. Now, if we had an error, that option would open that up. All we have to do is re-enter a username and password in our multi-factor authentication, and then we're set. We don't have to go into every single bank account to resynchronize that. It's that account synchronization would then reauthorize it for all the accounts that were utilized in that initial sync with that banking institution. So it's a very straightforward and simple process for reconnecting your accounts. Should your bank force you to update your password on a set schedule, whether that's 30, 60, or 90 days, it just allows you to ensure that your accounts are set up. This also just allows you to be able to quickly and easily run consolidated reports across your portfolio, be able to import bank transactions and push them into your banking module for processing of bank transactions. It would allow you to be able to see them uh, and stay more up to date on all the transactions that are hitting your accounts. Maybe that helps you track uh, any errant transactions that may be hitting or pending. It just gives you a little bit more visibility into your entire financial operation. But I am again more than happy to answer any initial questions that anyone in the audience might have. I'm happy to go through and walk through the synchronization process with anyone on the call again today. Talk about the different types of reporting that you might be able to do, or how you might be able to pull in bank transactions to process them, or even then export transactions if you're not using the HIA product for an external reconciliation process. We do have functionality for that as well, if anyone would like to have some initial questions on that process. And thank you, Jamie, for adding Chris's contact information to the chat. If there are no further questions, I'll go ahead and wrap up the presentation now. But again, more than happy to answer any initial questions anyone has. All right. Well, thank you everyone for attending today. Have a great afternoon, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Joe. And thank you everyone for